It's great to see your smiles. Beautiful morning. Did you leave the gate open so your inner child could get out today and enjoy? I hope so. We're celebrating Valentine's Day and likely have some of the candy you saw as a child. I like the little pieces that have the messages on them. So today, excuse me, I'm talking about what our founder, Ernest Holmes, called the central flame of the universe, which is love and loving each other. I'm also going to talk a little bit about the law of circulation, how that plays in with law, grief being a stoppage of that circulation of love, and compassion, getting it started again. So Ernest Holmes taught two great aspects of life. He taught love and law, presence and power. And the week before, I spoke about creative mind, the power. So today, I'm going to pivot and talk about the love aspect of God. Did you know Valentine's Day was a romantic holiday during the high Middle Ages, and because it really introduced courtly love. But in 1913, Hallmark Cards of Kansas City, Missouri began mass producing Valentines, and it's not been the same since. So our founder just said, love is the central flame of the universe, named the very fire itself. It is with that which is. It can't be explained. Words cannot explain its depths. That's why we talk about love in poetry and songs, because it's hard to understand, especially with the left brain. So we have to get into our right brain. Usually I give a few jokes. Well, today I'm going to give a few quotes, because I think poetry quotes are more appropriate for Valentine's Day. And this one comes from an engineer, of course. His name is Franklin Jones, and he said, love doesn't make the world go round. Love is what makes the ride worthwhile. And this is from Dr. Seuss. We all know Dr. Seuss. You know what? You're in love when you can't fall asleep, because reality is finally better than your dreams.
That's cute.
And Oscar Wilde, who's one of my favorite playwrights in English, Oscar Wilde, he said, to love oneself is the beginning of a lifelong romance. And you know this one from Elton John. I hope you don't mind that I put down in words how wonderful life is while you're in the world. And finally, Shakespeare. Did my heart love till now? Forswear its sight, for I never saw true beauty till this light. The more I give to thee, the more I have, for both are infinite. But soft, what light through yonder window breaks? It is the east, and Juliet is the sun. Now there's love, great love. So you remember what the great Rabbi Yeshua ben Joseph, also known as Jesus, the great master teacher, said? He said, love one another. Life exists because God has an irresistible urge to express itself, and you're the result. You're the expression of a loving God, and you're also one with that which creates. See, God in an amazing disguise, each of you. I was licensed as a minister of religious science by the Emerson Theological Institute back in 2015, and I later took courses and affiliated with Center for Spiritual Living. But during my first oral panel with Emerson, the senior minister there in the panel said, "What is love?" And I just immediately said, "God is love. Love is God." But then, thinking they wanted more, I went on and on about what Emerson said, what Ernest Holmes said, what Judge Trowbridge said, and finally he goes, "You had me at love is God." It's like, okay. It's simple as that. God is love. Love is God. And Emerson, Ralph Waldo Emerson, he said, "Although I may try to write about love, I am rendered helpless. My pen breaks and the paper slips away at the inevitable place where lover, loving, and loved are one." Thank you for the lyrics of the Beatles. All you need is love. The gift of love is that it brings us into unity with each other and with God and within ourselves. To love God is to love yourself in order to remove sin. And sin is this archery definition, which means you miss the mark. That's all that means. There's nothing wrong with your soul. It just means you miss the mark. Well, disease, death, poverty, injustice, all of these things we might label as bad or evil. Well, we must remove this illusion of duality and know we're one. We are one. There's only us. There's not us and them. There's only us. We're all us. All one. Our genetics are both fully human and fully divine. Our task in life is to question everything, to seek the truth, to fully live in both dimensions as spirit and physical form, the human and the divine. In order for us to know our full divinity, we must be fully human. We must love. Each person on the planet is a beloved child of God, and we're one with each other. There's never been any separation and never can be. So every one of us is a potential master in the art of loving, because love is who we are. We're love in action. Do you ever see those Marvel action figures and want to be one of them? Well, I believe we've got a new group here, and I call it Love in Action. That's your Marvel action figure. You are love in action, because the ultimate force in life is universal love working through creative law. We're never so powerful and so open a channel of spiritual life as when we love. So we know this is so because we understand the truth of oneness. God qualities are your qualities. Remember, all the qualities of the sea are contained in a cup of ocean water. We're no more separate from God than the wave is separate from the ocean. God is all. There's nothing outside of God. So in some religious beliefs, the goal is to become one with God. I know in Hinduism, I was taught the goal was to become one. And our objective is not to become one, it's to realize we already are. That's the secret. We already are. The perfect pattern within us is perfection. We're already perfect, we're healed, we're whole, we're healthy, we're lovable, we're worthy. So, what can separate us from the love of God? Nothing, actually. Nothing separates us from Source, not even some unintelligent beliefs about right and wrong and limitation. God is still offering all of itself. Love continues to flow. So all you need to do is say, yes, yes, I accept. I said, love. Thank you. You know, there's one life, but God made it multi-dimensional. Many expressions of the one, so that we may know the pleasure and privilege of caring for each other. And as a mother and a wife, I believe that we're all charged with the care of one another. I heard a psychologist on the news talking about the process of recovery from the wildfires. And he said, you know, people who've lost so much will suffer a depression. And he was talking about the mental, emotional recovery. And he said, however, one key thing that individuals could do is to help each other. And I think we've been seeing that. We've seen people helping restore lives and the well-being of those around you. By our love, we restore the love of others. Yeah, and I don't know who said this, but there's a saying that sometimes people's flame, their light goes out, you know. And we need to lend a hand to relight the light within. So give and be open to receive. This is what we've been entrusted with, and the world has presented us with great opportunities, especially right now, several places we could give. So begin with your heart. Set your heart right. Take lessons from others who've been through great challenges. You know, it's not a time to criticize. First and foremost, go inside. Know the inner calm. Establish inner peace. Restore your own heart. Then you can turn to healing others. You know, both abroad as well as here in our country, we have recognized the effects of reactive thinking by people who've been driven by anger and rage and hate and hunger for revenge. You know, for millennia, history has proven that violence begotten by anger only continues to perpetuate more of the same. You know, years ago I visited the Holy Lands and I was struck by the animosity between the people living in the Holy Lands. I went with a group from Unity Church, and I thought, after all these centuries, they haven't worked it out. You know, and Gandhi said, an eye for an eye, and soon the whole world will be blind. So it's easy to get sucked into and stay stuck in the energy of fear, especially when you're watching too much TV. So this fear is the invisible glue that holds all of the hate and the anger and the violence in place, because the vibration of fear is so close to the surface of our collective. It can be contagious, or I should say it's infectious. Fear is a disease. We have the word dis-ease. That means you're not at ease. You're not at ease with yourself or the love within. You have forgotten you're one with God. You know, St. Thomas Aquinas, he was a Dominican friar from Sicily, and he said, how can we live in harmony? He said, first, we need to know we are all madly in love with the same God. Now more than ever, our world needs conscious individuals who are willing to help to hold the high watch. Now, the high watch means taking the higher watch. It's basically seeing God in everything. And I often say, okay, in a trying situation, you don't know what to do, you can say, well, okay, what would Jesus do? What would Yogananda do? What would Buddha do? What did Lao Tzu do? They would come from the high watch. They would come from a higher level, a higher energy, and they would always respond with love. So this week I received a card Some of you may know who Sarah Jacobs is. She is a representative, congressional representative from District 51, which is in San Diego. And she sent a single quote from the Bible, and it was from the book of Esther, chapter 4, verse 14. And it just says, "Perhaps you were born for a time such as this." Thank you, Sarah, for reminding me. Yes, this is your time to step up, know the truth of who you are, a spiritual being with amazing power and loved by the Creator. And in this politically and sometimes religiously dogmatic, charged times, it requires courage and a willingness to take a proactive stand for something positive, something life-affirming, rather than against something negative. Don't be against something, be for something good. We know love is a higher vibration than fear. So remember, love is the answer to any and every question. So take a stand for love. And I was just amazed at what Jim said last week because he took his car in and the battery was broken and it was like 2 weeks out of warranty. You didn't sit there and badmouth and you didn't argue with these people. You sat quietly and politely in the waiting area, and you just happened to talk to one of the ladies there who knew something about warranty. And after the car was fixed, she came back and she said, "It's been comped. $500 worth of battery was comped." And I bet you were sitting there saying a little prayer.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course.
Of course.
I'm a gratitude guy.
You're the gratitude guru. So, you know, we each have this storehouse of tenderness and compassion and love within us. And as we express it, we find that it's quite capable of transcending and living in above the commonplace things of life. So rise up, rise up. You know, I was thinking about news. I was thinking about this little boy that gave part of his bone, like bone marrow, to a little girl that he didn't know. And I was thinking about all the people that donate kidneys. You don't know these people. You just donate a kidney. And I have a friend, her name is Renata, you know her. And over the years, she has fostered difficult children that have health issues. And she's been able to foster them, children that were born with fetal alcohol syndrome, children that were born addicted. And she has a little boy right now, so cute. I saw him last week. And this little boy was born from a mother living on the street in San Diego. And she's never seen the mother, and the mother has not called on the baby. But it's the cutest little guy. And she gives always as a foster parent, and a lot of her children have grown up. She's been doing this for 25 years, and the children come and see her. She is like grandma. It's wonderful. So instead of awfulizing that your fear is going to manifest, you know, oh wow, I saw it on the TV, I saw it on the internet, it's going to happen to me. No. Ask yourself, what will my love manifest? Love is stronger than fear. And if we feel there's something missing in our life, it might be us. Look in the mirror. Are we unwilling to give love or to be loving? You know, love is not consuming, just like Jan said. You know, love is healing. Think on the good. Create more of it. We know this from metaphysics. Whatever you put your mind on, you create more of. So move your mind off the fear and put it on the good. So why not let love be your lifestyle. Make a living sometimes takes up so much of our energy and our time and our attention. We forget that element of our life that could make the workplace, the grocery store, the bank, the car repair, a nurturing environment. All we have to do is say yes to love and bring love with us in every situation. So have any of you tried to pay it forward? You know what that is, paying it forward. Well, this was, when was this? Like a month ago. I drove up to Starbucks and I'm waiting in my car. And I get up to check out. And the lady says, oh, the car ahead of you, which is long gone, paid for your drink. Oh, wow. You know, it was like, wow, what a surprise. And I was so excited, you know, what a gift. You know, I was high on love all day. Well, I still am. But it was such a great surprise. And last Sunday, before I came here, we stopped at Albertsons, and I was standing in line, and the fellow in front of me was looking through his backpack and dumping everything out, and he didn't have the money to pay for his bill. So I just, hey, allow me. It was $4.99, and it was like, oh, thank you for giving me an opportunity to give. It's like, yes, yes. And what fun. You know, this is the law of circulation. We give love and we receive love, and we keep it going. You know, in a way, love does make the world go round because we keep it going. We're the ones, we're the little centers of love. We're the little action figures. We're in the flow. So last year, 2024, it was a time of personal loss for me, and I mentioned this before. My only niece died the week before Christmas. She had cancer. And my dog of 16 years, my baby, you know, both felt, well, it still feels like a hole in my heart. And I feel that grief is a form of love that's been blocked. I have to figure out how to allow it to flow again. And, you know, the death of friends and loved pets, it takes a bite out of us. It's painful. But knowing that love heals, we can still honor our loved ones and start loving in other ways. You know, metaphysically, I think grief causes the heart to crack, to break. But Rumi, the poet, the Sufi poet, said the cracks are where the light comes in. Keep breaking your heart so it opens up. So with grief, circulation has stopped, but love is still there, looking for an outlet, looking for a way to express itself. So this week, I started a class online with CSU on chaplaincy, because Robert and I used to work for Elizabeth Hospice, and chaplaincy work is working with people, basically palliative care, supportive care. And I thought, you know, Tanya would have said, good going, Aunt Maurene. You know, a way to help others who have gone through chemotherapy. And, you know, caregivers are crucial to survival. So I have a new flow for love. A flow of love lessens the grief. You know, love is an essence. It's kind of like, it's hard to explain, you know. But it's kind of, I think of it as a silver thread that is woven into the fabric of everything and everybody. And, you know, we will never feel at one with God until love becomes a dynamic part of our life. So I have a little story here. It's called Compassion of the Sun. You may have heard this before, but I wanted to show you the compassion, because I think you have to feel love, you have to feel grief, you have to feel compassion. It's hard for me to explain it. So this is a story of compassion. A nurse took the tired, anxious serviceman to the bedside. She said to the old man, "Your son's here." She had to repeat it several times before the patient's eyes opened. Heavily sedated because of the pain of his heart attack, he dimly saw the young Maurene standing outside the oxygen tent. He reached out his hand. The Maurene wrapped his toughened fingers around the old man's limp ones, squeezing a message of love and encouragement. The nurse brought a chair so the Maurene could sit beside the bed. All through the night, the young Maurene sat there in the poorly lighted ward, holding the old man's hand and offering him words of love and strength. Occasionally, the nurse suggested that the Maurene move away and rest a while, but he refused. Whenever the nurse came into the ward, the Maurene was oblivious to her and of the night noises of the hospital. The clanking of an oxygen tank, the laughter of the night staff exchanging greetings, the cries and moans of other patients. Now and then she heard him say a few gentle words. The dying man said nothing, only held tightly to his son all through the night. Along towards dawn, the old man died. The Maurene released the now lifeless hand he had been holding, and he went to tell the nurse. While she did what she had to do, he waited. Finally, she returned. She started to offer words of sympathy, but the Maurene interrupted her. "Who was the man?" he said. The nurse was startled. What? He was your father? No? No, he wasn't, the Maurene replied. I never saw him before in my life. Well, why didn't you say something when I took you to him? The Maurene said, I knew right away there had been a mistake, but I also knew he needed a son, and his son wasn't here. When I realized that he was too sick to tell the difference, whether or not I was his son, knowing how much he needed me, I stayed. Now that's compassion. That's another word for love. So, you are the very life of spirit, and you embody all the love of the universe right here. So love God by loving yourself and loving everybody else. Love one another as I have loved you. So Dr. Maya Angelou also said, love is that condition in the healing spirit so profound that it allows us to forgive. Love recognizes no barriers. It jumps hurdles. It leaps fences. It penetrates walls to arrive at its destination of hope. So remember, every act of kindness counts. Every act, however small or large, every smile you share can uplift a heart, and every kind word we say can brighten a day. Every prayer we utter can and does make a difference. Every act of kindness we share makes this world a better place. So go out there and be an action figure for love. And so it is.
So it is.